Li Yunzhong traveled through the Daoguang period of the late Qing Dynasty and became a charcoal burner. He burned charcoal with Feng Yunshan, Yang Xiuqing, and others, basically living a primitive life. As a traveler, Li Yunzhong was not willing to be lonely, but before he could plan his future, he foolishly offended Yang Xiuqing and had to start running away. Li Yunzhong gathered a group of anti-Qing activists to rise up and conquer Hunan, Jiangnan, and Nanjing, laying a solid foundation in the colorful world of Jiangnan. Hong Xiuquan was a tragedy. He ate ashes behind Li Yunzhong's buttocks and indirectly blocked the pursuit of the Qing army for Li Yunzhong. In the end, he had no choice but to enter Sichuan and establish the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom in Chongqing. Keywords of the novel. Late Qing Ocean Current without pop-ups, complete collection download of Late Qing Ocean Current TXT, latest chapter reading of Late Qing Ocean Current. Chapter 1. This is no different from being a primitive person. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yunzhong, take the exam well. With your level, you can definitely get into university, Zhao Yali said affectionately, patting Li Yunzhong's shoulder. Li Yunzhong is about to enter the college entrance examination room. Looking at the beautiful teacher in front of her, he noticed that she is still dressed up specially today, with a light makeup on her face, a white camisole on her upper body, a gray ultra-short skirt on her lower body, paired with black stockings, and red high heels on her feet. Don't worry, baby, I will definitely pass the exam and escape the hardships of teacher-student relationship for you. Li Yunzhong finished speaking and kissed his girlfriend's cheek before entering the exam room. The beauty is Zhao Yali, Li Yunzhong's girlfriend and teacher. I don't know what Li Yunzhong's father had in mind, insisting that he be admitted to Tsinghua University. In this way, Li Yunzhong embarked on his glorious career in the college entrance examination. In the first year, he was 19 points behind the score line of Tsinghua University. He repeated the exam, and in the second year, he was 4 points behind. In the third year, he scored enough points, and even gained a few more points. But it caught up with the education reform in Jiangsu province, and the elective subjects did not meet the standards of Tsinghua University, so it could only curse countless times. The Jiangsu Provincial Education Bureau is a pit for the father. Continuing his studies, even his girlfriend has finished attending a normal school and returned for an internship. He is still in his third year of high school. A day later, as soon as Li Yunzhong left the exam room and rushed back to his dormitory, a heavy rain came with thunderous thunder. It's raining, the weather in June changes as soon as it changes. Li Yunzhong also made a living and shouted, "It's raining, get up and collect." Before he could finish speaking, a bolt of lightning hit Li Yunzhong, who had just made a sound. Li Yunzhong felt his body numb, as if flying in the sky, and soon lost consciousness. Li Yunzhong felt like he had been sleeping for decades and didn't want to do anything, feeling confused. Until a big bearded man patted him on the shoulder and said to him, "Hurry up, the Heavenly Father has descended to earth. Call us over, all hurry up." After speaking, regardless of whether Li Yunzhong was willing or not, he pulled him away. Yang Xiuqing stood on a high ground, watching the crowd below grow bigger and bigger until no one came over. She began to chatter, dance with her hands and shake her head, while the people around her knelt on the ground and shouted, "Greetings to the Heavenly Father descending to earth." Li Yunzhong was also pulled down by his beard and knelt on the ground, which made him much more sober. Looking at the trembling big man ahead, I was so scared that I thought he had gone crazy and almost frothed at the mouth. Later, I saw him say something in Cantonese, "Listen, you little ones. Nowadays, demons are rampant in the world. You should work together to protect Allah, produce demons and eliminate demons." Li Yunzhong believed that he not only went crazy, but also had a mental illness. Li Yunzhong, who had just come to his senses, couldn't figure out the situation. He thought that in a mental hospital, the situation around him didn't look like it. Perhaps he was filming, and that's all he could think of. Li Yunzhong looked around and was mentally prepared. He was also startled by the situation in front of him. Everyone closed their eyes. Damn it, what kind of hairstyle is this? Why is there a strange and dirty braid on each person's head? Li Yunzhong reached out and smelled the braid of the person in front of him, but before he could get close, a strange smell came in. You don't have to enter the film like this, do you? Li Yunzhong closed his eyes to prevent himself from making jokes, and he didn't feel angry in his heart. He thought to himself that he would let me film without Laozi's consent. He also knelt here for a long time and looked up carefully at the big man in the stands. He didn't know him, but he didn't seem to be a celebrity. He'll clean up after the performance. As Li Yunzhong was about to fall asleep, he finally heard someone say, "Father has already left, let's all get up." The crowd stood up, supporting each other in groups of 3 or 2. Li Yunzhong looked around, there were no crew members or cameras, and the big man had already walked into the crowd, occasionally saying something. Li Yunzhong, who had gathered all his strength, jumped up and ran forward. He grabbed the big man's braid and pulled it hard, shouting, "How can I expose your little trick? Why didn't I pull off the fake braid? I pulled it again, but it didn't break yet. With more effort, it finally broke, and I had an extra strand of hair in my hand." The people around were all stunned, and the big man fell to the ground and shouted, "It hurts me too." Li Yun carefully looked at the hair in his hand, as well as the white roots, and exclaimed, "Damn it, it's true." The people around quickly helped Yang Xiuqing, and 2 others caught Li Yunzhong, while the others shouted and killed him. Li Yunzhong felt that he had made a big fuss and it was difficult to clean up. Coincidentally, someone slapped him hard on the head, and he quickly shouted, "It hurts," before foaming and pretending to faint. I heard the big man finally say, "Lock him up first." Slowly opening his eyes and confirming that there was no one around, Li Yunzhong quickly gathered a lot of surroundings and was locked in a small wooden house of about 10 square meters. Through the crack in the door, I saw 2 people standing outside guarding. Li Yunzhong muttered, "It's too much. Isn't it just a joke? Do you need to lock me up? It's strange. How could his hair be real? I want to drink water, believe it or not, I'll go out and tell you," Li Yunzhong, who was a bit thirsty, shouted to the 2 people standing at the door. Quickly, a person brought in a bowl of water without speaking to Li Yunzhong. They simply put the water in the container and prepared to go out. Li Yunzhong suddenly thought of something and said to him, "Stop, come here. I have something to ask you." As he was stunned, Li Yunzhong suddenly stepped forward and pulled his braid, thinking to himself that it was true. Startled the water delivery person, he gave Li Yunzhong a glare, covered his braids, and ran out. Li Yunzhong touched the back of his head and indeed had a braid. He gently pulled it and felt pain. After pulling out a strand of hair, Li Yunzhong finally confirmed that he also had a real braid. His hands also became much rougher, especially with calluses on his palms. Li Yunzhong trembled and brought the water to his face, watching the unfamiliar faces rippling in the water. I finally couldn't take it anymore and fainted. After waking up, Li Yunzhong sat foolishly for an hour, making sure he had traveled through time, not in a dream. Many memories of another person come to mind. This person's name is Li Yunzhong, from Qing County. 3 years ago, he came to Zijing mountain to burn charcoal and met Feng Yunshan. He was absorbed into the worship of God by Feng Yunshan. The year before, he was sent to his hometown to preach. However, he encountered constant setbacks and left a small group of followers behind to return to Mount Zijing. It was only then that he learned that Feng Yunshan had been captured by the government some time ago, and Han Xiuquan had traveled far to Guangdong. Thousands of worshippers worshipped God, leaving a group of headless dragons and people feeling anxious. At this time, Yang Xiuqing suddenly developed a mute disease, unable to speak for 2 months, and the congregation felt strange and thought it was an ominous omen. He used this as an excuse to pretend that his heavenly Father had descended to earth and spread rumors on his behalf. He cleverly combined his keen insight and superstition, thus doing a lot of ideological work, clarifying many chaotic thoughts in the worship of God, avoiding the collapse of the worship of God, allowing everyone to burn charcoal and save money, so as to bribe the government and redeem Feng Yunshan. Li Yunzhong also stayed behind at that time to help burn charcoal, hoping to redeem Feng Yunshan as soon as possible. The person who braids Li Yunzhong today is called Yang Xiuqing. Oh no, when I think of Hong Xiuquan, Yang Xiuqing, and Li Yunzhong, I think of the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom. A group of farmers rebelled against the Qing Dynasty and were eventually suppressed by the Xiang army. The TV drama has been filmed several times. Other Li Yunzhong couldn't remember, but the outcome was still clear. The rebels were basically dead, and not many surrendered. Li Yunzhong complained about not reading history much while worrying about the future. Brother Li, Brother Yang asked me to take you to meet him, someone came in and said to Li Yunzhong. I saw him standing around 1.7 meters tall, disheveled, with a braid wrapped around his neck. He was wearing clothes and pants made of popular Qing Dynasty cotton, with his upper body open, revealing his sturdy chest muscles. Li Yunzhong knows him, his name is Lin Fengxiang. He is 23 years old this year, 1 year older than him. Previously, Li Yunzhong referred to him as Brother Lin. Brother Lin, do you know why Brother Yang Xiuqing called me over? Asked Li Yunzhong. Li Yunzhong thought that if Yang Xiuqing poisoned him, he would walk back to Ting County. With his abilities, going abroad to become a wealthy man is more than enough. He doesn't have to carry his head to rebel. He still knows that the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom movement was a failure. Since it failed, these people must have died, and he doesn't have to bury them himself. Thinking of this, Li Yunzhong felt relieved. I heard that I have saved enough money to redeem Mr. Feng. I'm looking for you to discuss redeeming Mr. Feng, Lin Fengxiang replied. Well, let's go together then. After Li Yunzhong finished speaking, he walked out. The meeting place was not far from Guan Li Yunzhong's place. When Li Yunzhong arrived at the meeting place, he found Yang Xiuqing discussing with someone. When he saw the person's face, a name came to his mind. Xiaogui. Seeing Li Yunzhong coming in, Yang Xiuqing said, Brother Li is coming. Haha, we are going to send you to the dog supervisor of the county to redeem Mr. Feng. What do you think? Okay, I'm willing to go, Li Yunzhong said as if he had forgotten what had just happened to Yang Xiuqing and greeted him with a smile. My guard against Yang Xiuqing increased by 3 points in my heart. Xiaogui said, Li brothers must report in detail what happened in the recent meeting when they see Mr. Feng, and ask Mr. Feng to come to Guangzhou to welcome back Master Hong. I will speak carefully to Mr. Feng. Looking at the new rich worshippers in front of him, Li Yunzhong replied. The situation is stronger than people, let's pretend to be grandchildren first. Li Yunzhong thought to himself. Yang Xiuqing and Xiaogui, taking advantage of the absence of Feng Yunshan and Hong Xiuquan, used the pretext of their heavenly father descending to earth to win people's hearts, strike against dissidents, and completely seize the power of the god-worshipping sect. Now, all the believers in the Zijing mountain area are bowing to Yang Xiuqing, and even if Feng Yunshan returns, they can't do anything about Yang Xiuqing. But the two of them were afraid that Feng Yunshan and Hong Xiuquan would come back and see such a situation, and they would not acknowledge their tricks. So I want to remind Feng Yunshan to prioritize the overall situation. And I am Feng Yunshan's trusted confidant who was personally promoted, and I also have the best understanding of the current situation in the Zijing area. It is most appropriate for him to convey their meaning. This is the silver and thousands of dollars that our carbon workers have saved in recent months. Take it to bribe the supervisor of the county. Yang Xiuqing handed Li Yunzhong a purse. Yes, I'll go early tomorrow morning. Taking the money bag, Li Yunzhong had to leave tomorrow because it was already late. As he walked out of the room and saw Lin Fengxiang still closely following him, Li Yunzhong pretended to fall and threw the money bag out of his hand. Oh my, it hurts me so much. Brother Lin, quickly pick up the silver and copper coins. Watching Lin Fengxiang pick up his money bag and squat down on the ground with copper coins, one by one, he would probably be able to pick them up for a while. Li Yunzhong quietly turned back to the room just now and lay by the window. Xiuquan said, "Xiuqing, why don't you just kill him and treat him so politely? Li Yunzhong cannot be killed now. Mr. Feng's confidant in Zijing Mountain has been completely excluded and slaughtered by us, and the people who hold the power now are all newly promoted by us. Leave Li Yunzhong for Feng Yunshan to see. It is said that there are still people in Ting County. When Hong Xiuquan and Feng Yunshan come back to admit that their Heavenly Father has descended to earth, our position will be stable. At that time, the little Li Yunzhong will kill if he doesn't want to. Who can help me? Damn it, Yang Xiuqing, your master. Didn't I just pull your braids? As for you guys shouting and killing, do you want me to die? In the future, either you die or I die. Tomorrow, I will give you some eye medicine in front of Feng Yunshan." Well, that's it. Because the first time he heard someone trying to kill him, Li Yunzhong's first feeling was to turn around and kill him. It's probably time. Li Yunzhong walked towards Li Fengxiang. "Brother Li, all the money has been picked up. You can count and see that it's much less," Lin Fengxiang said. "Thank you, Brother Lin," Li Yunzhong smiled as he took the money bag. Lin Fengxiang is also a fierce person. Due to the loss of his mother from a young age, his father's love and lack of restraint led to recklessness. "When I was young, I stood up to help in case of injustice. Due to killing the county magistrate and arresting him, his seventh uncle Lin Xiuqing sold 4 pigs to him as transportation expenses and fled to a foreign land. Lin Fengxiang then wandered the rivers and lakes, setting up divination schemes and getting to know Yang Xiuqing. Now, Yang Xiuqing has usurped the power of the God Worship Association and promoted a large number of people who have good relationships with him, and Lin Fengxiang is among them." Chapter 2. Redemption of People Upon Arrival. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After returning, Li Yunzhong carefully recalled Yang Xiuqing and Xiuquan, knowing oneself and the other. He was surprised by his understanding of the situation. Yang Xiuqing is from Xinsuan, Zijing District, Guiping County, and is only 8 miles away from Daoguang village, where Feng Yunshan teaches. Yang Xiuqing came from a poor family and lost her father at the age of 5 and her mother at the age of 9. She grew up alone and was raised by her uncle Yang Xiuqing. She usually made a living by farming and burning charcoal. Although he is illiterate, he is very shrewd in dealing with people. He is strategic and skilled in fraud, and has a great talent for managing crowds. He is also good at making friends with heroes from all over the world and has a strong appeal among the masses. He is the invisible spiritual leader of the mountain people in Zijing Mountain. Moreover, the Lu family, who were among the first to worship the God of God, were all relatives of the Zheng family. Now he has descended to earth again through his heavenly father. In the absence of Hong and Feng, he is truly the first person to worship God. Even if Feng Yunshan comes back, he cannot do anything about it. Xiuquan grew up with his adoptive father from a young age and came from a poor family. He struggled to survive in the Zijing mountain area of Guiping city by growing vegetables, plowing the mountains, and burning charcoal. My parents have 4 sons, and Xiuquan ranks 3rd. When I was young, my family was poor, with no money to study and no knowledge of many buildings. In order to make a living, Xiuquan left home to work and even worked as a shop assistant during his youth. Not long after, he left his hometown with his parents and crossed mountains and rivers to settle down in the ancient shantytown of Pingyai Mountain in Guiping, using land reclamation and charcoal burning to make a living. At this time, Xiuquan was only in his early years. At the invitation of Feng Yunshan, Xiuquan and his friend Yang Xiuqing became members of the God Worship Society earlier. They went to various ethnic groups such as Zhuang, Han, and Yao to promote the teachings and benefits of the God Worship Society, actively mobilizing all ethnic groups to participate in the God Worship Society. Especially Xiuquan, due to his excellent martial arts skills, often defends those who worship God's teachings, so Wei Changhui still has great prestige in the worship of God. Yunzhong has increasingly decided not to work with the two of them. It is estimated that even Hong Xiu cannot do anything to them now, and Feng Yunshan is still so large. After completing the redemption of Feng Yunshan, Yunzhong's original wish is to go back to Ting County and make plans. Can't he offend or hide? Due to the continuous uprisings of party members in various regions of Guangxi and Hunan, there were uprisings led by Shen Huiping, Su Yixing, and others in Xianhua, known as Marquis of 10,000 Houses, and quickly spread throughout the province. During the reign of Emperor Daoguang, there were rebellions by the heavenly and earthly society in Guanyang, Gongqing, He County, and Yangshua in northeastern Guangxi, Xin and Yishan in northwestern Guangxi, Yulin in southern Guangxi, and Lipu and Shanglin in the hinterland. Hundreds of mountain hall leaders were either captured or exiled to Xinjiang province. Especially after the First Opium War, there were fierce changes in society, and the anti-Qing uprising became more intense. First, Lei Zihao and Li Shida rose from northern Guangxi, followed by Qin Yagui from Wushuan, Zhang Jiaxiang and Su Sanxia from Guixian and Hangzhou, and Zhu Hongying and Hu Youlu from the border area of Hunan and Guangxi. Although they all failed, there were still many scattered soldiers who joined forces to occupy the mountains and become kings. Without money or food, they had to plunder merchants for a living. The next day, Yunzhong held the 80 taels of silver that had been saved by thousands of followers burning charcoal for 6 months, which was also considered a heavy treasure. He was afraid of being robbed by ignorant thieves, so he decided to take the waterway to the county town. Before leaving, Yang Xiuqing had Lu Xianba and Lin Fengxiang serve as guards. Although Yunzhong was in his senior year of high school for 4 years, he studied science. So he learned about the history of the late Qing Dynasty through novels and television, such as the Eastern King Yang Xiuqing, the Southern King Feng Yunshan, the Heavenly King Hong Xiuquan, the Northern King Wei Changhui, the Wing King Shidakai, the Loyal King Li Xiuqing, and the English King Qin Yuqing. He knew some of them, and the names of Lin Fengxiang, Li Kaifang, Qin Yuegang, Hui Huang, Lai Hanying, who were not crowned as kings in Yongan, were known. Lin Fengxiang, this name Yunzhong heard of when he was in high school, and eventually died as a martyr during the northern expedition. As for Lu Xianba being a relative of Yang Xiuqing, Yunzhong suspected that they were all sent by Yang Xiuqing to monitor him. The 3 of them hurriedly headed their way and soon arrived at the Xuanjiang ferry. They hired a small boat and informed the boatman that they were going to the county town. The boat then sailed down the river. Therefore, it is the midsummer season, and there are scattered sails and shadows on the river. There are cargo ships transporting charcoal and salt, as well as bamboo canopies for fishermen relying on eagles. A huge 2-masted cargo ship was speeding northward, strangely guarded by soldiers, with a dog-tooth flag of Daoguang River Inspector hanging from the mast. The boatman who sees the opportunity quickly is like hiding on one side, but from time to time, some boats that cannot be avoided are knocked over in the river. The boatman above also jumps into the river early, and every time a small boat is knocked over, laughter comes from the big boat. Looking at the tragedy in front of him, Yunzhong angrily said, "Is there no royal law to allow officers and soldiers to act recklessly?" Lin Fengxiang said, "Those are the people of the Inspector Wang Ji. They are used to wandering on the river, and the people who make a living on the river are all poor families. If they want to have enough to eat, they have to endure being bullied." The boatman carefully rowed the ship towards the river, avoiding the large ship. Seeing the big ship go far away, the boatman wiped the sweat channel on his forehead and said, "They must have been trafficking opium again. Every now and then, they have to transport a large ship from Guangzhou to the ground. With such officers and soldiers, how can we ordinary people survive?" Lu Xianba sighed. Yunzhong thought to himself, no wonder Hong Xiu could dominate China with just a few thousand strong men and several tens of thousands of women and children, occupying southern China for a time. If it weren't for the lack of ambition and corrupt lifestyle of senior leaders, wouldn't success have been possible? Laozi should also rebel. If he succeeds, he should become a high-ranking official. If he fails, he should grab enough money and go abroad to enjoy his fortune. Isn't it faster than earning money through hard work? After the scene just now, the atmosphere on the ship became even more dull. Fortunately, it wasn't long before we arrived at the ferry crossing in Guiping County. The three of them paid for the boat and went ashore. I had lunch at the inn. Li Yunzhong found a silver bank and exchanged copper coins and broken silver coins for small ingots of 1 ingot or 10 taels, totaling 6. He wrapped them in cloth and put the remaining broken silver coins in his arms. After getting ready, the three of them walked towards the county government office together. On the way, Li Yunzhong finally understood that it was the month of that year in the AD. I remember the First Opium War occurred in 1840, and I just asked Lu Xianba about the end of the Sino-British War in the 20th year of the Daoguang reign. 8 years have passed. Now it is June 11, 1848. For the first time, Li Yunzhong admired the ancient county town. After the initial freshness, the simple and poor streets, small and ugly houses and shops on both sides, numb shopkeepers beside the shops occasionally shouted, and several beggars sat listlessly by the wall waiting for pedestrians to give alms. I am extremely disappointed with the scene before me. The three of them arrived at the entrance of the county government office, with stone lions placed on either side of the door, which had become bumpy and bumpy due to wind and rain. 2 Yamen attendants stood next to him, and one of them stepped forward and shouted, "County Yamen is important, no one is allowed to look at you." Li Yunzhong prepared dozens of big money to come forward and said, "I come to Zijing town to complain to the supervisor of the county. Please tell me about it. It's a small idea. It's no respect." The Yamen runner took the big money, weighed it in his hand and said, "The supervisor of the county is busy with official business, and there is no time to meet you. For your sake, wait here, and I will report to the master." Not long after, he walked over from the county government office with a middle-aged man, and the Yamen guard pointed at Li Yunzhong and others while talking to the middle-aged man. Li Yunzhong secretly said that he seemed to be a master. In order not to be called a pariah, he prepared several silver coins to come forward and said, "Student Li Yunzhong came here to avenge his mentor Feng Yunshan to the supervisor of the county." Master took the silver and put it in his sleeve, looking at Li Yunzhong a few times. "Unexpectedly, I made a small fortune today." In a happy mood, I said to Li Yunzhong kindly, "Since I have a grievance to claim, let me see the supervisor of the county." I also said to Lin Fengxiang and Lu Xian, "You two should wait here." Li Yunzhong followed the master around the lobby and walked towards the backyard. The backyard was a small courtyard, and the two of them entered a room on the left. A yellow-skinned and lifeless old man in his 60s leaned against the table smoking a big cigarette, with a servant beside him, occasionally helping him light cannons and take cigarette sticks. The old man closed his eyes and enjoyed every sip he took. Li Yunzhong saw an opium smoker for the first time in his life. Unexpectedly, he was a supervisor of the county. He said to himself, "No wonder the Qing Dynasty died 60 years later." The master coughed heavily. Then the supervisor of the county looked up and said weakly, "Here comes the master." The master said to Li Yun, "I haven't paid a visit to the supervisor of the county yet." Li Yunzhong learned from the Qing opera on TV. He took out the silver in his arms and put it on the table. He knelt on the ground and said to the supervisor of the county, "The students came to avenge the supervisor of the county adults." Feng Yunshan, a native of Huasyan County, Guangdong Province, taught people to read in Zijing Town and Jintian Town. The god worship founded by him would persuade people to do good. However, it was taken away without reason by the group leader Wang Zuoxin, and asked the supervisor of the county adults to make decisions for us. That supervisor of the county Jia Zhu was dazzled by the money in front of him. He has not been a supervisor of the county for long, but he is still an agent now. He has never seen so much silver. He has spent all his money on opium smoking. Guiping is a poor and remote place with little money to spare. Every day, I think about how to scrape money, but I didn't expect someone to send me such a large sum of silver. What is Feng Yunshan and what is he caught for? The supervisor of the county asked in a low voice after calling the master. My lord, Feng Yunshan was captured by Wang Zuixin, who ran the group drill at the beginning of the year. I heard that Feng Yunshan was going to be punished by rebellion, but I didn't dare to confront Feng Yunshan in court. The important thing is that the magistrate didn't agree to be punished by rebellion. The former supervisor of the county wanted to collect some money and let him go. Who knows, no one sent the money, and he was kept in prison. The master quickly reported the situation in detail. After the supervisor of the county learned about the situation, he was overjoyed to see that it was not a big case, and someone gave him so much silver. Immediately, he said to his master, Yunshan teaches people to respect the heavens. He advises people to do good and does not engage in any illegal activities. He orders someone to immediately release Yunshan, and so on. It is better to send him back to his hometown and leave him under the control of local officials. Thank the supervisor of the county lord, Li Yunzhong said to the supervisor of the county again with great joy. Chapter 3, This is Wei Changhui, right? You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The source has no content or has errors. Chapter 4. Return to Mount Zijing. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The source has no content or has errors. Chapter 5. Adventure Escape. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. While having breakfast, Li Yunzhong accidentally heard news that made him vomit blood. Feng Yunshan had left, hiding from almost everyone, and set off for Guangdong before dawn. With a frightened mind, I hastily ate something. Take the silver hidden in the public cafeteria while people are not paying attention. Returning to the room, Li Yunzhong casually packed up his things and planned to run away. As soon as he opened the door, he saw two people standing on either side of the door. Huang Weijiang and Ji Wenyuan. They followed over from the cafeteria, but Li Yunzhong didn't notice it. Huang Weijiang is Yang Xiuqing's brother.in.law, and Ji Wenyuan is Yang Xiuqing's friend. Huh, both of you, it's so early. You guys are here. Li Yun, holding a bundle, asked casually. Brother Yang ordered us to take you to meet him, Ji Wenyuan said expressionlessly. I rely on. Who are you, Yang Xiuqing? Why does everyone have a big brother in their mouth? Oh, Brother Yang wants to see me. You should have told me earlier. I'm sorry to have Brother Yang wait for me. I'll change into a new outfit first before going. Li Yunzhong pretended to be very happy and had a sickly appearance. After finishing speaking, I quickly closed the door. Oh no, what if that bastard Yang Xiuqing wants to take action against me? Li Yunzhong wouldn't think that Yang Xiuqing was asking him to talk about things. If you go see him obediently. As soon as he arrives, Yang Xiuqing will descend to earth with a heavenly father, and those who are confused will be severely punished by him in the name of the heavenly father. Li Yunzhong saw that he had used this trick several times and was not satisfied with it after trying it 100 times. He had to find a way to escape. Brother Li, are you okay now? Alright, we'll be here soon. Anyway, when he opened the window, Li Yunzhong threw an old piece of clothing out. Whether it's life or death depends on this one. A critical moment. Li Yunzhong suddenly remembered seeing Chen Xiaochun's version of the deer and the cauldron before. Wei Xiaobao was caught by the Heaven and Earth Society and used this trick to deceive his guards, thus escaping the house. Huang Weijiang and Ji Wenyuan carefully listened to the movements in the room. When there was no movement in the room, they knocked on the door. However, when there was still no movement, they hurriedly opened the door. Upon seeing it, the room was empty. Oh no, the window opened and he ran away. He can't run far, hurry up. Huang Weijiang carefully examined the room and pointed to a piece of clothing outside the window, saying. Yes, he just answered, he's still nearby. Let's separate, you go chase people, and I'll notify Brother Yang and the others. Ji Wenyuan said. The two quickly parted ways. Seeing both of them leave, Li Yunzhong crawled out of the bed and pretended to say, "Are ancient people so stupid?" Li Yun, a vocational school student, picked up remote and obstructed places to hide and finally got rid of Huang Weijiang. As there was only one way out of Zijing Mountain, Li Yun dared not delay running towards the mountain entrance. Stop, what's going on? In a panic. Li Yunzhong was startled by the sudden appearance of someone ahead. Upon closer inspection, it turned out to be Hong Xuanjiao. It was you who startled me. Li Yunzhong took a breath and patted his chest. Hong Xuanjiao looked around and saw that there was no one nearby, so she whispered to Li Yun, "You go quickly. Yang Xiuqing is going to kill you, and all the excuses are ready. We'll wait for you to go." Then he continued, "Yang Xiuqing has not yet notified the person guarding the mountain pass. You should go to Guangdong to find Mr. Feng." Li Yunzhong saw that she was not here to catch him, so he quickly clenched his fists and said to Hong Xuanjiao, "Thank you very much for saving your life, Mississippi. I am extremely grateful." After speaking, he hurriedly ran around Hong Xuanjiao towards the mountain pass. Sure enough, Li Kaifang, who was guarding the mountain pass, only asked why he had to leave early in the morning. Li Yun's eyes rolled and he exclaimed loudly, "I heard Mr. Feng is back in Guangdong. I'll go see him off and chat to express my feelings." Li Kaifang smiled and said, "Mr. Feng has been away for an hour, I don't think you can catch up anymore." Li Yun said, "How do you know if you don't try? If you don't, I have something important to report to Mr. Feng. I'll leave first." "Stop him from the front, don't let him go," shouted Huang Weijiang panting behind. Originally, Huang Weijiang also remembered that there was only one way out. As long as the exit was blocked, Li Yunzhong would be unable to fly. "So I hurriedly ran towards this side and indeed saw Li Yunzhong." Lin Fengxiang was surprised and said, "What's going on? Why didn't Brother Huang let Brother Li go out?" Seeing several people ahead looking at him with puzzled eyes, intentionally or unintentionally blocking the exit, Li Yunzhong said helplessly, "I don't know either, maybe he has something important to attend to." Huang Weijiang approached and said to several people out of breath, "Brother Yang Xiuqing ordered me to take Brother Li to see him." Originally, he dared not express his purpose. Li Yunzhong decided to take the lead and scolded Huang Weijiang loudly, saying, "Mr. Feng has left, and no one has gone to see him off. Yang Xiuqing, you only have Yang Xiuqing in your eyes. Is there also Feng Angel, and is there Master Hong? I see that your thinking is flawed and needs to be reformed." Huang Weijiang was stunned, stuttering, and speechless. A charcoal burner standing next to Li Kaifang called out, "You're right. Mr. Feng was alone on the road early in the morning, and I felt really uncomfortable looking at him." Lin Fengxiang scolded him and said, "Shut up. Damn it, I almost forgot they were in the same group. We need to take advantage of Lin Fengxiang and Li Kaifang's lack of understanding and get out of here quickly." As Li Yunzhong walked, he said, "All right, after seeing off Mr. Feng, I will naturally come back to see Yang Xiuqing. After all, we can still catch up with Mr. Feng now. If we catch up again after seeing Yang Xiuqing, we won't be able to catch up, right?" Huang Weijiang secretly said, "When I see Brother Yang, I will send you to heaven, which will also make you chase Mr. Feng." Hey! In front of so many people, he cannot be forced to meet the Yang brothers. It has been rumored that it has tarnished Brother Yang's reputation. Only let him go. How should we explain to the Yang brothers when we go back? Li Yunzhong walked nervously for a while and saw no one calling him from behind. As soon as he took a breath, he heard someone shouting his name from behind. Looking back, he saw Xiao Chaogui, Hong Xuanjiao, and Ji Wenyuan waving at him. Scared, He ran forward at the fastest speed in his life, occasionally throwing some silver towards the back. Finally, I left Zijing town and arrived at Jintian town. Passing by Jintian village, I thought of Wei Zheng's family resting for a while, but then remembered that he was not a good person in history, so I dispelled this idea. Finally, he ran to the ferry crossing in Jiangkou town in one breath, only to stop when no one was chasing him from behind. He sweated profusely before realizing that he had been running for almost 2 hours. I planned to take a boat here to reach Taito Prefecture. I met the boatman who sent Li Yunzhong to Guiping County last time because I knew he wasn't a follower of God's teachings. Li Yunzhong thought he was the most reliable and made his boat. "Boatman, can you take me to Tingshan?" "The price is reasonable," Li Yunzhong said to the boatman. "My guest, I can only take you to Pingnan County. Ting County is too far and I won't be able to come back before dark," the boatman laughed. Li Yunzhong only wanted to leave Guiping early, regardless of where he went, so he promised the boatman to disembark at Pingnan County. On the way to Pingnan County, Li Yunzhong got off the boat and saw a tea shop not far away. He went over to have a cup of tea. "Waiter, come and have a pot of good tea." Li Yunzhong sat down and shouted to the waiter. "Here we are, guest." "A pot of tea," said the waiter, placing the teapot on the table. Seeing Xiaoming carefree, Li Yunzhong finally calmed down, poured a bowl of tea, drank it in one gulp, and took a long breath, feeling refreshed. "Brother, do you want something?" "I have everything, cheap and durable," said a salesman standing next to Li Yunzhong, pushing a handcart. Li Yunzhong's mood is now relaxed. Seeing his face covered in sweat, he occasionally wiped his face and neck with a cloth draped over his shoulders. He said to the bartender, "This big brother, sit down and have a cup of tea to quench his thirst." The salesman was also polite, sat down straight, took a bowl, poured a bowl of tea, and drank it all in one gulp. "Thank you very much, little brother." "It's such a hot and thirsty day," sighed the bartender. Li Yunzhong casually asked, "May I ask this elder brother for his surname?" "My younger brother's name is Li Yunzhong, which is from Tingshan County in the east." The bartender smiled and said, "I am from Pingnan County, rising to the sky in the Lower Mongolia." Puff. Li Yunzhong heard his name and heard such an interesting name. Just took a sip of tea and spat it out on Meng Qisheng's body. "Sorry. I'll help you wipe it," Li Yunzhong quickly stood up and said. "It's okay. It's actually cooler like this. Others call me ascending to heaven, which is my alias," Meng Xingtian said as he brushed aside. After chatting for a while, Li Yunzhong came up with the situation of Meng rising. It turned out that his grandfather had a field of 3 grains, 7 or 8 oxen, and harvested about 10,000 kilograms of rice, making him a wealthy farming family. His father and brother split up and became addicted to opium. By the time he died, his family's wealth had almost been destroyed. Meng Xingsheng had 4 siblings, the eldest of whom, due to his large population, he also had to do some small business during his free time in farming. He worked as a salesperson to support the village and households, helping to make ends meet. Li Yunzhong sighed to Meng Xingsheng, "It's opium that harms people again." Pa Meng rose up and patted the table angrily, saying, "I really want to kill all those opium sellers. I'm not doing anything, but I have to be a foreigner's dog." This brother said it well. "I wish I could kill all those opium traffickers who have caused harm to the country and the people." A wealthy and powerful man sitting at the next table turned his head and said to him, "I've seen 2 of you before, just as I'm shaking my beard," the man said again. "Hui Huang. It seems like I've heard of it before. Oh, is he a great general of the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom? It seems like he needs to make good friends." Li Yunzhong and the other 2 also clenched their fists and said their respective names. The 3 of them sat together at a table and started chatting. Li Yunzhong, who had traveled through time, could be said to have knowledge of astronomy above and geography below. Hu Tianhaidi was impressed. They really admired each other. Originally, there were 3 brothers named Huihuang. He acted as the second brother, Zhao as the elder brother, and Yang as the younger brother. His father passed away when Huihuang was less than 10 years old, and the family property was inherited by his 3 sons. Brothers grew up to be ostentatious and extravagant, leading to a decline in family fortunes. Later, there were disagreements and the family split up. At the age of 27, Huihuang left his ancestral home in Luowen village and moved to Jiezhou hut in Shanren village, Datong. Originally, those foreigners lived thousands of miles away and came across the sea by boat. The sea was perilous, and they were truly bold and fearless, sighed Meng Xingxing. Huihuang said, that's called asking for money but not for life. The foreigners have sharp guns and cannons, and even 100 times the number of officers and soldiers are not opponents. I see that the Qing Dynasty will be destroyed by the foreigners sooner or later. Li Yunzhong said, otherwise, foreigners only come for money, and the people all over the world hate foreigners. They can't get the land. I'm Ling Shiba, the shopkeeper of this tea shop. After listening to everyone's conversation, I admire it and have come to meet you. Li Yunzhong saw that it was the waiter who had just served tea and poured water. He was the only one in this tea shop, and of course he was also the owner. Chapter 6. Ferry Adventures. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The 3 of them stood up, clasping their fists and giving up their seats. Huihuang said, I have heard of the name Ling Shiba and he is also a well-known hero. Ha ha ha. Ling Shiba is about 1.7 meters tall and a bit chubby. At first glance, he is someone who won't compromise his mouth. Coupled with a beard all over his face, he exudes a feeling of recklessness all over his body, almost writing on his face. I'm not easy to mess with. Also, the Guangdong and Guangxi regions have had a strong folk culture since ancient times, often engaging in big fights at the slightest disagreement. Not only do they engage in 1-on-1 battles, but there is also a tradition of group fights. As far as Li Yunzhong knows, many Hakka villagers form a party and often engage in fights with the landlord's group training. The 4 people gathered around the tea table, chatting happily, which attracted many passers-by to glance at them. Seeing that it was getting late, Huihuang suggested staying at his house for a few days. The 3 of them helped Ling Shiba tidy up the tea shop and walked together towards Huihuang's house. On the way, Li Yunzhong only remembered who Huihuang was. He was a famous military commander in the early days of the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom and came from a landlord background. Wu Xiucai, the only official of the Heavenly Kingdom, participated in the worship of God in his early years. During the Jintian regiment, Hong Xiuquan and Feng Yunshan secretly set up an uprising at their home in Washushan village, Pingnan County. They were trapped by the Qing soldiers stationed near Siwangwai. Huihuang assisted in leading the assembly to resist, and the reinforcements defeated the enemy. Only then did Hong Xiuquan come to Jintian to hold the uprising. Shanren village is a remote small mountain village in Datong Shangli, Pingnan County, located in the northwest of Pingnan County, 130 miles away from the county seat. The northwest of the village is Jinqiu Mountains, the north is connected to Mount Meng, and there is the Datong River, which can be used for boats for a long time, running through it at Bahuali. The southwest is the Penguali mountainous area, adjacent to Guiping Jintian and Zijing Mountain. To the north and south of the village, there are more than 10 miles of maple boundary mountains in Datong and Penghua, with Yanggu Peak on the mountain. Standing at the top of Yanggu, looking south for 4 miles, there is Huazhou. 20 miles to the north is Shanren village, which is located in a mountain valley with layers of peaks. This mountain ditch is called Shanren Chong. Shanren village is located in the middle section of Shanren Chong. There is only one rugged path connecting the north and south of Shanren Chong. Due to the sparse population inside the Chong, wild grass grows on both sides of the road, covering the sky and making pedestrians walk like drilling grass holes. There is a great force to block the pass, and 10,000 men are invincible. These two mountainous areas were under the jurisdiction of Sitong Prefecture in the Tang Dynasty and belonged to the Daitongxia area in the Ming Dynasty. The ethnic minorities in the past have competed with Yang Xiuqing, Han Yong, Wang Shouren, and others. Whenever a war breaks out and advances, one can attack the Xiuquan plain and rob the county town, retreat, you can turn to Dayou Mountains to break up and stand by, which is a strategic place since ancient times. Li Yunzhong followed Hui Huang into Shanren village. I also found that this location is an excellent training ground. As long as someone is dispatched to set up personnel to watch and patrol at the mountain pass, if there are fewer enemies, they can be eliminated. If there are more enemies, they can enter the mountains and wait for fighter jets. I couldn't help but sigh in my heart. It's really easy to attack while retreating. Since Li Yunzhong developed a rebellious mindset, he has become interested in the geographical environment. Hui Huang introduced, the people in this area speak Hakka and vernacular, mostly from Guangdong, with ethnic minorities such as Yao and Zhuang mixed in. The residents mainly grow rice and manage indigo and wood, with strong surnames and good social skills. However, they are often bullied by local wealthy families. Whenever there is construction of embankments, reservoirs, road construction, etc., local Hakka people are conscripted, and the Hakka people often gather together to resist, often engaging in armed conflicts, and the relationship between the two is extremely tense. It's really a case of poor mountains and rivers producing unruly people. During the conversation, Li Yun heard that the three of them had long been dissatisfied with the Qing court and occasionally expressed their anger towards reality, especially Ling Shiba, who often spoke out about the rebellion of killing officials. Therefore, he wanted to invite them to join the God Worship Society, but still tried to weaken Yang Xiuqing's authority and establish his own credibility. After walking for a long distance, everyone arrived at Hui Huang's house. There was a 3-room mansion with river stones and mud brick walls. Hui Huang quickly called for several people to sit down and personally poured tea for them. After chatting for a while, I got to know about the other 3 people. Li Yun put his words on the topic and solemnly said to them, to be honest with the 3 brothers, I am actually the leader of the God Worship Association. Under the orders of sect leader Hong and Feng Yunshan, I was specially responsible for the mission in Pingnan and Tingxian. We established the God Worship Association to unite our brothers and sisters who were bullied by the official Shen. As long as we unite, we can fight against the landlord group that bullied us. I don't know what the 3 people mean. While talking, we deliberately exaggerated our position in the God Worship Association. Ling Shiba was extremely disappointed with the court and admired Li Yunzhong's words. He felt that his wealth and status were all part of Li Yunzhong's life. He immediately exclaimed, those landlords collude with officials. How can we defeat them? It's better to go against his mother. Hui Huang and Meng Xingxing looked calm and not surprised at all, as if Ling Shiba's rebellion was just a small matter. Li Yunzhong was gentle and charming, with a hint of temptation. To be honest, I have long been prepared for rebellion by worshipping God's teachings. Not to mention that the Qin court has been in power for over 200 years since its establishment, and since Qin Shi Huang became emperor, there has never been more than 300 years of history. Moreover, with the continuous occurrence of natural disasters, officials are becoming more and more rampant in extortion, landlords are oppressing the people, and people from all over the country are rising up in rebellion, causing the Qin court to be exhausted. This is not just the era of dynastic change mentioned in history, but not far away. Former Emperor Zhu Yuanzhang served as a mediator. Shang and beggar, since joining the Red Turban Army, it can be said that Feng Yunshan rose and eventually overthrew the Yuan dynasty and became emperor. Now, how similar to the end of the Yuan dynasty, this is not exactly a good opportunity for us to dominate the world with recklessness. Success leads to endless prosperity and wealth, failure can also leave a lasting name in history and be remembered for eternity. After swallowing his saliva, Li Yunzhong saw Hui Huang and the 3 of them blushing, with 6 excited eyes staring at him. Immediately, he smiled and praised himself harshly. I am not talented in the clouds. I have read Sun Tzu's Art of War, the 6 strategies and 5 stratagems, and various military books, and I am even more familiar with the 36 strategies. Like everyone else, I have long wanted to show my ambitions and hope that everyone can work together to achieve great things. Meng Xing immediately stood up and bowed, truly so. To be honest, I have had this wish for a long time, but I hate my own weakness. Now that I have heard what Brother Li said, I am truly fortunate to have 3 lives and dare not comply with my orders. I have 3 shames in my life. Firstly, since my father passed away, officials have been extorting money, donating large amounts of money on March 1st and small amounts of money on January 1st, ranging from 1,000 taels to 100 taels. This has led to a decline in my family's fortunes. Secondly, I failed to achieve success in my studies and learned martial arts. I once took the provincial martial arts examination, but the examiners colluded and accepted bribes. At the end of the exam, they even used a bow that had been used for my hands and feet. With too much force, I broke the hard bow, twisted my arm, and ultimately fell into disrespect, which was laughed at by the villagers. Thirdly, the Zhuo family was a wealthy man in the Badong area who colluded with the government. Roaming through the countryside. Because my father had a grudge with the Zhuo family before his death, I rode the road past the entrance of the Zhuo family. Unexpectedly, the Zhuo family pulled me down, pushed me into a cowshed, tied my neck, shaved half of my hair with a sickle, and gave me a beating before releasing me. This is truly a great shame for me in my life. Now that the God Worship Association can make decisions for me, I am grateful. Please allow the Li brothers to join the God Worship Association, and work together for great success. Hui Huang also said to himself, hey. In fact, if it weren't for being bullied by the Zhuo family, I wouldn't have rebelled myself. Even if I collected rent every year, I lived a very comfortable life. My family was also wealthy back then, but later my father became addicted to opium and ruined his family's wealth. These opium dealers were all from the landlord group, colluding with the government to be so bold and reckless. Meng Xing couldn't help but recount his family's unfortunate experience. Ling Shiba stood up excitedly and clenched his fists at the crowd, saying, I can make good friends with heroes. Now that I can join the God Worship Society and make friends with everyone, it's truly a worthwhile life. With 3 people joining, the God Worship Society will definitely be able to open up the situation here. Li Yunzhong quietly clenched his hand and finally had his own team. It's not too difficult to preach, hehe. It seems that we can exert influence on them and develop into our own confidence. Well, we need to slander Yang Xiuqing a few more times. As long as you open up the situation in Pingnan County, you won't be afraid of Yang Xiuqing. Meng Xing said to Li Yun, I have a few good brothers in the Huawang Water Horse Bell village of Dapeng, and there are countless relatives and friends. When I go back, I will persuade them to join the God Worship Association, which can also be considered as a ceremony of promotion. Li Yunzhong understood his meaning as soon as he heard it. The missionary work in the Huazhou area will be handled by the Meng brothers. I live in Sini, Guangdong, and I am willing to go back and spread teachings and attract believers. Ling Shiba is also unwilling to fall behind. Li Yun said, Brother Lao Ling is responsible for the mission of preaching Sini. Upon seeing this, Hui Huang also probed, although I am not talented, I still have some appeal in Pingnan. It is more than enough to bring up 2,000 or 3,000 people. By the way, I have good friends Zhang Weikuan, Tan Yingui, and Zhang Suemo, who are often oppressed by officials like me and have long had the heart to resist. Among them, Zhang Suemo, a blind man named Zhang, has participated in the anti-Qing rebel army led by Su Sanyang of the Heaven and Earth Society. Due to his father's passing, he is now mourning at home. I can persuade Zhang Weikuan and Tan Yingui to donate their family wealth together with me. In this way, tens of thousands of people can develop in Pingnan County. Believers. Your grandfathers, tens of thousands. In the future, whether you listen to me or not, let's stabilize you for now. I couldn't help but sigh. Feng Yunshan, Xiuquan and others have been preaching to the poor for 5 or 6 years before they finally opened up the situation in Zijing Mountain. It seems that the cause of rebellion is still played by wealthy people. Having money and food is the only way to lure more poor people into joining, so it can be successful. Li Yunzhong pretended to be very moved and said to Hui Huang, in the future, the Hu brothers will be responsible for preaching in the Pingnan area. Please take care of them. He was afraid that they would not believe him, and added, don't worry now, brothers. As soon as Mr. Feng and Master Hong return from Guangdong, I will go and report to you. It is already late now, and tomorrow I will explain the teachings and rules of the God Worship Society to you and baptize you. Chapter 7. Destruction of Temples. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Wisps of faint morning mist float like ribbons in the azure sky, with the ribbons tied to the distant gate and the nearby tent at both ends. The rising pillar like smoke, the eternal silent brook, and the old cattle carrying the sunset are all like iced tomatoes on sticks strung one by one on the thin silver chain of memory, which tastes very fragrant and sweet. Li Yunzhong, Hui Huang, Ling Shiba, and Meng Xingxing simply had breakfast and prepared for baptism. They prepared an incense table in the courtyard, which served as a shrine and placed 2 lamps and 3 cups of tea on it. Li Yunzhong recited the confessions of the 3 of them, which contained the names of the baptized individuals. He recited them once, while Hui Huang and others repeated them. Afterwards, the confession letter was burned, symbolizing its presentation to God. Then Li Yunzhong asked the converts if they promised not to worship false gods, not to do evil, but to abide by the rules of heaven. Hui Huang, Meng rising. Ling Shiba knelt down one by one to answer, and Li Yunzhong poured a cup of water on each person's head, saying in his mouth, wash away the sins of the past, eliminate the old and create new. The converts stood up, drank clear tea, and washed their chests with water to express their inner cleansing. Confessing guilt and praying for forgiveness. After being baptized, Hui Huang and the others received various forms of prayer texts, which were used for morning, evening, and pre-meal prayers. Next, Li Yunzhong talked to the 3 people about the precepts of worshipping God. 1. Worship the Supreme God. 2. Prohibition of worshipping false gods. 3. Do not speak the name of God casually. 4. On the 7th day, hold worship and sing praises to the mercy of the Supreme God. 5. Be filial to your parents. 6. Abstain from killing. 7. Caution. 8. Avoid theft. 9. Stop talking nonsense. 10. Abstain from greed. Let them memorize it. After a busy morning, Li Yunzhong finally completed the baptism of the 3 and successfully joined the God Worship Church. After finishing, Li Yunzhong saw them beaming with joy, as if he wished to start a big fight immediately. So he suggested, it's better for us to sworn brothers, so that brotherly won't be too long and brotherhood won't be too short. The 3 of them all cheered and suggested using the incense table they had just used for baptism to pay their respects. At this moment, there was a sound calling out to Hui Huang outside. The 4 of them went out to greet him, and it turned out to be Hui Huang's friends. Zhang Weikuan, Lin Daji, and Yang Xiuqing. The 3 of them met Hui Huang from a young age and shared the same aspirations. Upon hearing that Hui Huang had a good friend at home, they came for a while and learned that Hui Huang had joined the God Worship Church. After listening to Li Yunzhong's introduction to the God Worship Church, they also wanted to participate together. After Li Yunzhong finished baptizing the 3 of them again, he remembered the matter of forming a sworn alliance and naturally invited later Zhang Weikuan, Lin Daji, and Yang Xiuqing to participate together. Li Yunzhong thought to himself, we cannot let them be pulled over by Yang Xiuqing. We should use the method of sworn worship to tie them together. Seeing everyone kneeling in 2 rows, Li Yunzhong lit a few incense sticks and inserted them into the incense burners that were pressed on them. The 7 of them raised their hands 3 fingers and swore to the sky, saying, "Now there is Li Yunzhong. Wait for everyone to announce their names one by one." Li Yunzhong continued, "A total of 7 people have sworn brothers, and in the future, they will have blessings and enjoy difficulties. If someone betrays their brothers for the sake of glory, wealth, or conspires with others, then they will be struck by thunder and lightning, dismembered by 5 horses, and have no children or grandchildren. The ancestors of 18 generations will not be peaceful, and there will be no place to bury them." Li Yunzhong made more than 10 poisonous vows in one breath, and caught sight of the 6 people staring at him with wide eyes, as if saying, "Do you want to be so poisonous?" Li Yunzhong quickly finished saying, "Heaven and earth serve as a guide," and then kowtowed. A few people said together, "If you betray your brothers," as Brother Li said. Then they killed the chicken and drank blood wine. Everyone reported their age, with Meng Xiuqing being the eldest brother at the age of 42, Hui Huang being the second brother at the age of 32, Ling 18 and 27 being the third brother, Yang Xiuqing being 2 months younger than Ling 18 as the fourth brother, Zhang Weiquan being 26 and becoming the fifth brother, Lin Daji being the sixth brother at the age of 26, and Li Yunzhong being the youngest brother at the age of 22. After the ceremony, several people greeted each other and chatted and laughed. Suddenly remembering something, Li Yunzhong sighed with a troubled expression on his face. Sure enough, Hui Huang asked, "Why is Brother Baki sighing? Do you have something on your mind? Tell me and I will share your worries with all my brothers." Li Yunzhong added fuel and vinegar and said, "Hey, to be honest with a few brothers, the worship of God is growing and there is already a struggle for power and profit. At the beginning of this year, the government took advantage of our lack of prevention to capture Feng Yunshan and Lu Lu, and Hong, the leader of the sect, went to Guangdong again. Yang Xiuqing, Xiaogui, and others took the opportunity to seize power. Yang Xiuqing pretended to use, Heavenly Father descends to earth, to control the followers. When I rescued Mr. Feng, Yang Xiuqing actually committed the following offense, openly provoking Feng Yunshan and sending Feng Yunshan back to Guangdong overnight. I couldn't see it, so I wanted to stop Yang Xiuqing. But to my surprise, My heart-wrenching thoughts are killing me, but luckily I got the news and managed to escape." Meng Xing muttered to himself, "I have heard of worshipping God for a long time. I always thought it was created by Feng Yunshan, but I didn't expect the leader to be Hong Xiuquan. I know Yang Xiuqing, and he knows some crooked ways. He specializes in asking ghosts for poor people. He has a lot of prestige near Zijing town. I didn't expect him to be such a person. After I go back, I will definitely take more precautions against them." Hui Huang comforted, "Don't worry, seventh brother. Yang Xiuqing is nothing. He was the one who acted unjustly first. Of course, we will obey seventh brother's orders, and even if we measure him, we can't do anything about our brothers. It seems that everyone understands, and the future is limitless." Li Yunzhong's Hui Huang and Meng's rising gaze were full of praise. Because before joining the God Worship Society, Zhang Weiquan, Lin Daji, and Yang Xiuqing were all children of wealthy families. Like Hui Huang, they were often extorted by team training officials under the pretext of donating silver to train and suppress bandits. They had long been dissatisfied with the current situation and often gathered together to discuss how to resist. Now, all 3 of them and Hui Huang have joined the God Worship Society. In addition, Li Yunzhong has sworn in with them and made a poisonous oath. They all accepted Li Yunzhong's rebellious ideas and expressed willingness to devote all their financial support. The 7 of them spent a few days together at Hui Huang's house, during which Li Yunzhong's strengths were finally fully realized. They kept manipulating their knowledge and insights with the experience of later generations, winning the admiration of Hui Huang, Yang Xiuqing, and others. Later, it became Li Yunzhong's solo speech, and they listened from behind, unable to even insert a word, making them feel ashamed and embarrassed. Li Yunzhong's reputation in their hearts reached its peak, just like being brainwashed by Li Yunzhong. Meng Xing eagerly returned to Huazhou with the 300 taels of silver given by Hui Huang, and Ling Shiba also brought 500 taels back to Sini, Guangdong. Due to Hui Huang's strong efforts to persuade him to stay and to further investigate the personalities of 4 wealthy families. Hui Huang, Zhang Suemo, Zhang Weiquan, and Lin Daji, Li Yunzhong decided to temporarily stay in Pingnan County to preach. The relationship between the Hakka, Yao, Shuang, and local big and small landlords in Guangxi has become increasingly tense, with frequent armed conflicts between the 2 tribes. As a result, there is a tradition of gathering together to practice martial arts during leisure time. After witnessing these firsthand, Li Yunzhong planned to mobilize the villagers throughout the village to join the worship of the emperor and resist the oppression of local officials and gentry. Hui Huang brought Li Yunzhong and several brothers to Xiuquan town, south of Shanrenchong. To the west of Xiuquan town, there was a very spiritual marriage temple. It was said that Li Yunzhong had not yet married, so he insisted on bringing him over to see him. It is said that the temple is actually just a house made of soil and stones. Outside the courtyard, there is a big tree covered with red ribbons, and from time to time, a couple of men and women come to make wishes and fulfill them. After entering the temple, everyone was stunned by the sight inside. The deity worshipped in the temple was actually a pair of semi-naked men and women, intimately cuddling each other. Li Yunzhong asked the temple Zhu, who was holding incense candles and hanging decorations next to the statue, about the origin of this temple. It turned out to be in the early years of the Daoguang reign, when Guangxi suffered from a severe drought and countless people starved to death. Among them, a young man and woman met unexpectedly under a tree in the courtyard when they were dying. They made peace at night and died. In the morning, when the villagers discovered them, they were supposed to throw them into the wilderness. Unexpectedly, it was during that time that heavy rain fell and thunder and lightning flashed. With the news that the money and food for the court's disaster relief had arrived immediately, the people were both shocked and frightened. They thought it was a manifestation of immortality, so they built a temple for the 2 of them. However, many lovers came to the temple to make wishes and eventually became married. The incense in this temple became even more popular. After listening to the origin of this temple, Li Yunzhong's eyes rolled. He remembered that Hong Xiuquan and Feng Yunshan were promoting the experience of worshipping God among the common people. He quickly pulled several brothers out of the temple and saw them all looking at him in surprise. Li Yunzhong used this killing weapon as his own idea and said, "The main task of worshipping God in Pingnan County is to recruit more believers, and to recruit believers, we need to expand our influence. After all, the more people know, the more people join. Now we are destroying this temple in the name of worshipping God, and the reputation of worshipping God has spread in this place. Next, we will destroy all kinds of temples in Pingnan County, so not only Pingnan County, but also the entire Xuanzhou prefecture will become famous. So if we destroy all the temples in Guangxi, wouldn't we be able to immediately conquer Guangxi and destroy all the temples in the country?" Zhang Weiquan was interrupted by Zhang Suemo before he could finish by Yuemeng. "That's impossible. Since the establishment of the Qing Dynasty, the civil society has been constantly rebelling, with the Tian Di Hui, Tian Li Jiao, and by Lian Jiao even dominating several provinces. The court mobilized the power of the whole country to pacify them. Therefore, the government has strict control over the civil society, and if there is any rebellion, they will march in the name of rebellion to eliminate it. However, since Jiaqing, the policy has gradually relaxed, but it can only be secretly spread on a small scale. Zhang Suemo has extensive knowledge and resourcefulness, Ling Shiba bravely leads the Third Army, Hui Huang is mature and stable, Meng Xingsheng has insight into people's hearts, Zhang Weiquan is mediocre without ambition, and Lin Daji is meticulous and bold. All of them can be useful, Li Yun sighed in the center. With these few people, one can achieve a career. I'm afraid that not only will the common people not join the worship of God, but they will also hate us, after all, we smash temples for no reason, Lin Daji worried. Huh, wise brother, you have been worried too much. Those Hakka people are already living in poverty and rarely worship temples. As long as we lure them with profit and call these temples evil temples, this method is still very likely to succeed. Hui Huang agreed. Li Yunzhong saw that everyone no longer opposed, so he naturally ordered, "Second brother, go spend money to hire some idle men, beggars with strong momentum." "Okay, I'll go now." Hui Huang was very familiar with Siwang town and walked in the direction where the beggar was. "Fourth brother, fifth brother, and sixth brother, your tasks are a bit heavy. You can deceive, drive, or use whatever you want. In short, you need to gather the people in this small temple. By the way, you can also bribe a few people to mix in with the crowd and act as insiders. Watch my expression." Li Yunzhong pointed his hand fiercely at the empty space around the small temple as he spoke. "Let's also prepare first," Zhang Suemo, Lin Daji, and Lin Daji all replied in unison. After everyone left, Li Yunzhong looked at the small temple in front of him with confidence and had an intuition that his career would start from here. Chapter 8. The people join the worship of God Church. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Half an hour later, Hui Huang led a group of newly satiated beggars to the temple and asked Li Yunzhong if it was possible to start. After receiving Li Yunzhong's approval, he whispered instructions to the beggars behind him. The beggars heard that they could join the God worship sect without worrying about food or drink. They even gave each person 5 coins of silver on the spot. Although they didn't know who God was, being able to eat was enough to excite them. Without the usual worries, they roared and rushed towards the small temple, driving out everyone inside. The young men and women in the temple didn't understand what was happening. Some were pushing and shoving beggars in the temple, but they didn't want to come out. This angered the beggars, and many dirty words came out of their mouths. "Dog men and women, what temple are you still worshipping? Just learn from his wild love. Pooh, shameless and shameless, running around to make a fool of yourself. I haven't heard that getting married requires the orders of parents and the words of a matchmaker to count. What else are you looking for? I look much more handsome than him when I dress up." Those who insisted on staying blushed and quickly walked away, covering their faces. Miao Zhu was also kicked out by 2 beggars, wriggling his body like a scoundrel, shaking his head and dancing his hands while shouting, "What are you beggars doing? Do you have any tricks? Let go of me quickly." The beggars started smashing the temple. The earthen walls made of thatch, soil, and stones were knocked down by a group of beggars who had just eaten their fill. 2 of them climbed onto the altar and rolled the bronze statue back down to the door frame before stopping. The almost smashed beggars glared angrily at the people on the platform, waiting for the beggars who knocked down the statue to admit their mistake before giving up. When beggars started smashing the temple, many people heard the commotion and surrounded the temple, pointing and asking each other. What happened? They all got answers by shaking their heads. Li Yunzhong saw Zhang Suemo leading a group of people over, pointing towards the small temple and saying something. Not long after, Zhang Weiquan and Lin Daji each brought a large group of people. The beggars finished smashing the temple, hesitating as if they had not finished. Someone came up with an idea and lit the fire. In no time, the small temple was burned clean. Many people were very angry about this, and their voices became louder. Li Yunzhong estimated that the time was ripe and encouraged himself, learning from the scene he had seen on TV. During the Republic of China, delivered a speech to save the country in front of the masses. He walked to a raised spot across from the crowd, with his left hand on his hips and his right hand suddenly shining upwards, shouting, "Villagers, be quiet, be quiet. Are you thinking, why did we smash the temple? Why did we burn the temple? Let me tell you, I'm trying to save you. You have committed a serious crime. What are you offering? A pair of annihilating silver women. They are not worthy of your service. The crowd gradually quieted down when they heard Li Yun shouting for a moment of silence. They were even more startled when they heard that they had committed a crime, and their gasping sounds were low and low. They listened carefully, afraid that Li Yun might be from the government. Li Yunzhong was very satisfied with the effect of his words, so he put his right hand down and inserted it into his waist. He continued, "There is only one God in the world, and that is God. Everything else is false, and you worship without receiving blessings. Instead, it will bring disaster." Some people may ask, what disaster? Well, I'll tell you, suffering and suffering during your lifetime is the reason why you are living in poverty now. After death, you will also go to hell and suffer from the 18 layers of hell. Li Yunzhong threatened, afraid that the Chinese people will not understand the terror of Western hell and instead use China's 18 layers of hell. You can only be saved by believing in God. Believing in God can alleviate disasters and difficulties. If you get sick, praying to God can alleviate pain. If your family is poor, believing in God can give you food and clothing. Li Yunzhong stopped and gave a glance to Yang Xiuqing. Yang Xiuqing nodded to show understanding and whispered something to a man next to him who looked sleazy. "What is God? How should we believe in him and worship him?" the sleazy-looking man asked loudly. "God is the only true God in the world. In order to save you, he sent his own son to establish the God-worship church. As long as he joins the God-worship church, he can believe in God and ascend to heaven after death. There is endless money, endless food, and endless clothing in heaven, always enjoying happiness. In this world, we will ultimately build a small heaven where there is land and cultivation, food and clothing, wealth and use, everywhere is uneven, and everyone is warm." General Li Yun said the slogan of the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom in one breath. The people below were stunned, and Li Yunzhong's words were not easily thundered in their ears. Li Yunzhong, who came from later generations, never understood the thirst of the common people for food and clothing. They worked hard all year round, and even had to eat one meal after another. In times of famine, not only could they not afford to eat, but they also had to sell children and women. In severe cases, groups of people starved to death. Now I heard that someone can take them to cultivate the land, eat the food, and wear the clothes together. The feeling is simply indescribable. Or was it a young strong man who first squeezed forward and excitedly asked Li Yunzhong, "Can you really eat enough and dress warmly?" Li Yunzhong, who thought he was in the cold, quietly wiped his sweat and gave an approving glance at Yang Xiuqing and the others. He confidently said, "Not bad, as long as you believe in God, you can eat enough and dress warmly." Seeing such a strong man, Li Yunzhong couldn't bear to let him go hungry, hoping to let him charge forward later. "I, Li Disheng, am willing to join the God-worship sect and ask the master to take me in." The strong man heard that he could join the God-worship sect and excitedly knelt on the ground, kowtowing several heads to Li Yunzhong. "Isn't that Li Disheng, the servant of Wang Caiju's family? Why did he get ahead? He is so good at eating, and I'm afraid he will be poor if he worships God's teachings alone." Someone recognized the strong man kneeling on the ground. "That's just a foodie. I heard last month that the wealthy Wang was curious about how much he could eat, so he let him eat with his stomach open." The wealthy Wang went to take a nap, but he took the opportunity to eat for a whole afternoon and ate all the food in the wealthy Wang's family for 3 days. The wealthy Wang woke up so angry that he hung him up and beat him hard. Li Disheng lay in bed for 3 days before getting out of bed, and the wealthy Wang even asked him to do the work of 3 people to pay off his debts in the future. A commoner boasted of confidential information. "Stop talking, you didn't hear that as long as you join some God worshippers, you can have enough food, clothing, and warmth. Do you still have crops? Hurry up and ask the God worshippers if they want us," said a clever-looking commoner to the person chatting. "That's right, it's still smart to come for wealth. If we want to join the God-worshipping church, can we also have a full meal?" Before Li Yunzhong could lift Li Disheng up, he was overwhelmed by the surrounding people, and his ears were filled with the words, "I want to join," and, "Do you want me?" These are similar words. Seeing Li Yunzhong speechless, brothers such as Hui Huang and Yang Xiuqing helped to pacify the people and kept saying to them, "As long as you want to join the God Worship Association, stand under the tree on the right." After a while, the crowd stood around the tree, but not a single one was still standing in place. They all looked eagerly at Li Yunzhong. "If you want to join the God Worship Society, we all need to work together to build a small paradise," Li Yunzhong said without hesitation. The crowd shouted excitedly, occasionally saying, "My mother-in-law hasn't passed yet, I'll pull him over quickly," and, "Yes, my brother hasn't come either, I'll go call him too." Li Yunzhong seemed to know the concerns of the people and said with a smile, "Great, you can go back now and bring your family. After an hour, you can gather here and I will baptize you. After baptism, you will become worshippers of God's church. Those without family can call out friends or acquaintances, and God will firmly remember your contributions to worshipping God's church." The crowd quickly dispersed with this excited mood, and even Li Disheng, who had no relatives, expressed his intention to go to Wang Caiju's house and call his friendly brothers. Lin Dajilu said to Li Yunzhong with concern, "There are only so many people joining the God Worship Society now. They only join when they hear that they have enough food. No matter how much food we have, it's not enough. What about more people?" Hui Huang nodded in agreement with a worried expression on his face. Brother Lu is worried too much. These people living at the bottom don't have that much demand. As long as we give them hope, as long as we let some of them eat enough and then let them promote, more people will join. Moreover, I have a plan to make those people eat enough." Li Yunzhong's confidence infected his people, so he discussed with Li Yunzhong what to do when the people arrive. In less than half an hour, someone came one after another, and Li Yunzhong took his brothers to act as discussed earlier. Hui Huang and Zhang Weikuan maintained order and guided the first to arrive crowd to the designated location to wait and answer their questions. Yang Xiuqing observed the crowd and saw a large number of people following behind him. He asked Lin Daji to approach them and then told Li Yunzhong the information. Li Yunzhong placed an incense table at the front and brought a stack of white paper. Originally, he wanted the new recruits to write a letter of repentance, but considering that most people could not read, let alone write, he decided to use a different way of speaking to the white paper as a letter of repentance and sent it out. An hour has passed, and it seems that no one is coming this way anymore. Li Yunzhong silently counted the number of people, 30 people in a row, with 42 columns, about 1,200 people. I thought to myself, I didn't expect so many people to be summoned for today's bull knife test. It seems that the people of Xiuquan town have arrived almost. I couldn't help but think to myself, I could also rebel like those heroes on TV, responding in unison. Chapter 9. Li Yunzhong pretends to be divine and mischievous, gathering people's hearts. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It's the first time that Li Yunzhong has baptized so many people at the same time. If there were any mistakes, it would be amusing. Taking a deep breath, he didn't dare to think recklessly. He simply recited the text and instructed the people below to follow suit. So, the baptism ceremony was completed in a neat and orderly manner. As for those 10 commandments, they were simply recited once, with plans to arrange for some people to learn them first, and then let them be responsible for teaching the rest. Now, please come to the front of the people who have been named by me. Just now, God sent me a message saying that these people are devout believers, said Li Yunzhong, pretending to be very religious. Li Disheng, Zhao Laoqi, Wang Gang, Wang Xian, and Qian Duo, all 5 of you come up, Li Yunzhong recalled the information Lin Daji told him. Li Disheng is a servant of the Wang Kaiju family in this town. He gathered over 30 servants from the Wang Kaiju family, along with their families, totaling over 100 people. Zhao Laoqi is 22 years old. His parents and daughter-in-law starved to death in the famine the year before last, and the family only relies on their youngest daughter. In the past 2 years, he has worked hard to save more food and often provided assistance to other poor families, resulting in a high reputation among them. He heard that there was a place where he could eat enough and dress warmly, so he pulled all the people he knew over, fearing that another disaster year would happen and tragedy would happen again. There were also over 200 people following him. Wang Gang and Wang Xiuqing both have some kinship with Wang Caiju's family in the town. However, Wang Caiju is stingy and reluctant to spend some money, so he will not help his relatives and instead will do everything he can to plan for them. Wang Caiju has been isolated by the Wang family. Wang Gang is 30 years old and Wang Xiuqing is 22 years old. They brought almost all the people surnamed Wang with them, with more than 300 people of all ages and genders. As for the money, at the age of 58, he is a beggar. Due to the drought 2 years ago and a poor harvest last year, many Hakka people sold their fields at a low price to wealthy families in exchange for food. And they dragged their children around looking for food, gradually becoming beggars. There are many people like Guangxi. Xian Duo and all the beggars in Xiuquan town participated in the worship of God. The remaining people are all in small groups, not suitable for the climate. 5 people stood anxiously in front of Li Yunzhong. From now on, you guys. Call them company leaders. After thinking for a while, Li Yunzhong gave them a name that none of them understood. The most important thing is that it's okay to be heard by the government. You can go down and choose 10 people each as your assistants, Li Yunzhong said to them. In no time, 50 more people came forward, all of whom were men of all ages. You each choose 5 households, and from now on, those 5 households will be under your jurisdiction. You can call them class leaders, Li Yunzhong said to them again. After selecting, there were still more than 10 households left, and Yang Xiuqing, who maintained order, asked them to join the familiar team. Lieutenant General Li Yun took the platoon leader and squad leader aside to buy people's hearts. Hui Huang, Yang Xiuqing, Zhang Weikuan, and Lin Daji stayed to appease the remaining people. I will talk to you about the essentials of worshipping God's teachings. The rules are as follows. First, the class monitor must remember to gather your subordinates on time every night and gather at their own homes. Second, they all gather at the place arranged by the platoon leader every 3 days. What should be said at the gathering? I will tell you later. Li Yunzhong interrupted a small beggar's question with displeasure and even caught Xian Duo patting the beggar's head. Now let's talk about what you are most concerned about. The issue of food. We will never starve a believer to death in the worship of God, remember, not at any time. You must mobilize believers to hand over their household food to a place called the Holy Treasury, which will distribute food to believers every day and not waste food. Of course, when there is not enough food, we will transport it from other branches of the worship of God. Also, there are many landlords who love to trouble us with worshipping God's teachings. To put it simply, they are arresting people and demanding ransom, so we also need to gather together for training regularly. Everyone over 18 and under 50 years old must participate, and those who perform well will have to go to another place for training. These people can not only eat until they are full, but also receive food to support their families. If you have any questions now, you can ask. Li Yunzhong did not plan to tell them the true purpose of the camp. Who is God? Can you really go to heaven and enjoy happiness after death? Xian Duo asked himself what he was most concerned about. He was almost 60 and often worried that he would never wake up again the next day. It was said that believing in God can lead him to heaven and enjoy happiness. Now, he is not as afraid of death as he used to be. Since he came here, Li Yunzhong has felt the same in hell, wearing linen clothes, eating porridge and wawatu, no computer, no mobile phone. Even no light bulb. I still want to read the 21st century, and now I think it is really paradise. God created man, who resides in heaven. He said, believe in him for eternal life, which means living in heaven forever after death, free from pain. If you think it's heaven, you can eat meat and be full, your clothes can be warm, and your money can be spent. Then I came here from this kind of heaven. Li Yunzhong described life in the 21st century and added in his heart, if you can be reborn into the 21st century, you are ascending to heaven. There is really heaven, I can live in it and no longer have to go hungry or cold. Qian Duo muttered longingly. Li Yunzhong continued to explain the doctrine of Jesus to them, which is much more formal than the hearsay of Xiuquan and Feng Yunshan, both of which were copied from China in the 21st century. In the following days, Li Yunzhong stayed at their wealthiest Wang Gang's house, pretending to be a ghost and performing many miracles. Before Li Yunzhong's time traveling, he had been studying physics and chemistry, and was adept at these things. Whenever a rainbow descended from the sky, he heard a dragon roar in the middle of the night. Many people saw a dragon fly up from Wang Gang's house in the morning and disappear into the void. A purple glow suddenly appeared over Wang Gang's house, and when Li Yunzhong came out, it disappeared again. And so on. The rumors circulating nearby were so widespread that even Li Yunzhong's brothers were skeptical. The wealthy family in this town came to trouble Li Yunzhong, saying that worshipping God and teaching cups can confuse people's hearts. The servants at home are not as obedient as before, always joining forces and not working to threaten them. In the name of God, Li Yunzhong subdued the wealthy with a few threats. It seems that they were also scared by those miracles. Since then, many wealthy families have joined the worship of God. After witnessing the miracles of the past few days, Hui Huang, Zhang Suemo, Zhang Weiquan, and Lin Daji all hoped to return home to preach. They were very confident in their future and believed that they could pacify the world in just a few years like Liu Bang and Zhu Yuanzhang, and they had made more contributions before that. In the future, one can bestow a wife and shadow over their children. Li Yunzhong, who had been waiting for this sentence for a long time, asked them to select a few people from the local area as attendants, and then reminded them to go back. In the next few days, all kinds of temples in Pingnan County were unlucky, smashed and burned. Li Yunzhong eventually had a slight fear of the Confucian temple, which was revered by scholars, and warned them not to take action. Other temples were gradually destroyed by the growing worship of God. Even the county government heard the wind and, under the attack of Hui Huang's silver bullets, quickly issued instructions. To worship God, to dispel superstition, to teach people to do good and accumulate virtue, and to educate the people. Li Yunzhong was not idle either, and he visited various branches of the worship of God one after another. As usual, various miracles were created, and the name of worshipping God quickly spread, with many believers coming from Tingxian. Although Guangxi has a tradition of Hakka people fighting against local landlords, and every village has a tradition of practicing martial arts together, the group camp organized in Pingnan County to worship God did not attract the attention of the government. Li Yunzhong instructed that the selection of those strong individuals must go to the deep mountains for training, which is located 80 miles north of the county town in the mountainous area. The 19 winding giant peaks in the area have orderly undulations, resembling a dragon soaring in the clouds. Few people enter the area except for those living inside. November 1948 was also November of the 28th year of the Daoguang reign. The worship of God in Pingnan County has finally become a raging fire, developing over 10,000 followers. Li Yunzhong organized a branch of the God Worship Church with several sworn brothers as the core. Li Yun appointed his brothers as battalion commanders. Meng was promoted to the position of battalion commander in the front camp, along with the believers in Xiuquan town. There were a total of 2,200 men, women, old and young, with 7 company leaders and 30.5 squad leaders. Hui Huang served as the commander of the central camp, and the followers developed by Lin Daji also went to the central camp, with a total of 3,400 followers, 10 company leaders, and 50 class leaders. Zhang Weiquan served as the right battalion commander, with a total of 2,800 followers, 8 company leaders, and 40 squad leaders. Yang Xiuqing served as the commander of the left camp, with a total of 2,400 believers, 7 company leaders, and 30.5 squad leaders. According to Ling Shiba's messenger, there are over 1,200 followers of Sini development, and last month they had a conflict with the government. One of his cousins was arrested by the government, and later he was redeemed following the example of Li Yunzhong. Lin Daji is responsible for the holy treasury of the entire Pingnan County's worship of God. And the number of people in each battalion is constantly increasing. Of course, the elite selected from various battalions are personally trained and controlled by Li Yunzhong. While Li Yun was busy, the person arranged by Meng Xingxing at Mount Zijing sent a message. Xiao Chaogui was possessed by the Heavenly Brother Jesus, conveying his will and quickly becoming the leading core of the worship of God in the area of Mount Zijing. Upon receiving the news, Li Yunzhong fell into a dilemma. In his heart, he looked down upon Yang Xiuqing and Xiao Chaogui's style. But I have to admit that this method of descending to the mortal world is very effective. The power I have worked hard to establish has been easily pulled over by them using Heavenly Father and Heavenly Brother descending to the mortal world, and I have no place to reason. Li Yunzhong still remembers that Yang Xiuqing, who had a low reputation in the worship of God, was granted the title of 9,000 years old King of the East by his Heavenly Father descending to earth, and even dared to criticize the Heavenly King Hong Xiuquan with a cane, with boundless power. The messenger came to report that Hui Huang was on his way into the mountain with a person named Hong Xiuquan. Li Yunzhong pondered for a long time without saying a word, and the key to success or failure lies in this person. Chapter 10. Becoming Hong Xiuquan's teacher. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Li Yunzhong heard Hong Xiuquan arrive and got up to go outside. He saw Hui Huang and a gentle-looking scholar waiting outside, with the scholar holding his hand behind his back and smiling. Like Hong Xiuquan in Li Yunzhong's memory, he no longer hesitated and bowed to Hong Xiuquan, saying, "Please meet Mr. Hong in the clouds." Hong Xiuquan hurriedly stepped forward to hold on to Li Yunzhong and said happily, "I didn't expect you to create such a situation in just a short time, Yunzhong. You have made great contributions to the worship of God. I will definitely report to God and reward you well." Li Yunzhong chuckled and didn't know what to say, only where to use it to compete with Tang. I couldn't help but think to myself, wasn't I working for God and using his reward? Li Yunzhong signaled to Hui Huang to gather the backbone of the worship of God in Pingnan County to Shanren village. Awkwardly welcomed Hong Xiuquan into the room. Hong Xiuquan, however, did not feel it. He held on to Li Yunzhong's hand and said some nonsensical words. Li Yunzhong quickly shifted the topic without hesitation, wishing to wash his hands properly immediately. "Mr. Hong, have you met Mr. Feng in Guangdong? Is he in good health? Just as he was released from prison, he hurriedly went to Guangdong to find you." Li Yunzhong still felt resentful that Feng Yunshan returned to Guangdong without notifying him. "Yunshan has been released from prison. I am currently struggling with this matter. I have been praying to God for his help recently." Hong Xiuquan stood up excitedly and incoherently upon hearing the news of Feng Yunshan's release. After calming down for a while, Hong Xiuquan said again, "I have been in Guangzhou for the past few months, trying my best to find the way to the Governor General's office of Guangdong in Guangxi. I waited for a long time before being seen, but unfortunately, the officials only pushed each other away and refused to rescue me. Afterwards, I went to Hong Kong Island and found British people who couldn't even understand my words. I hurried back to Guangxi again, not even to my home in the countryside. Yunshan must be waiting for me in the countryside. No, I have to go back and bring Yunshan back." Li Yunzhong recounted the process of rescuing Feng Yunshan to Hong Xiuquan, greatly highlighting his own credit and tarnishing Yang Xiuqing's image. He also mentioned Yang Xiuqing's Heavenly Father descends to earth. Xiao Chaogui's Heavenly Brother descends to earth did not tell him, but he will naturally know when he arrives at Mount Zijing. Hong Xiuquan fell silent, no matter who inexplicably added a father, a poor father, or a subordinate father, no one would be happy. After a while, Hong Xiuquan broke his silence and asked, "Before I came, I heard some new doctrines of worshipping God near Pingnan County. These are all ideas you came up with. I'm afraid Hong Xiuquan, the ground beetle, doesn't know the goods. Li Yunzhong cautiously said, these are all in my dream. Another one I told me was that he was the teacher of the Son of God, and he also taught me a lot of knowledge, such as astronomy, geography, and the 6 military strategies. Let me teach and assist a person named 3821. I understand now, Hong is made up of 3,821 people. Isn't that Mr. Hong? Mr. Hong is the Son of God who descended to earth, so he is not Mr. Hong, said Li Yunzhong, probing his surname. He is my teacher. Did he teach you these teachings? Tell me quickly, Hong Xiuquan asked excitedly. Hong Xiuquan has always believed in the existence of God in the world, and he is the Son of God. This is what God himself told him in his dreams. Li Yunzhong boasted about the teachings of later generations, combined with the content of the Bible, to Hong Xiuquan, who was stunned for a moment, feeling that it was better than what the foreigners in Guangzhou said. Hong Xiuquan has not yet read the Bible, and his understanding of Christianity is limited to the book, Persuasion. He has created many limericks himself to promote the worship of God. Hong Xiuquan had no doubt about what Li Yunzhong had said. He knew what kind of person Li Yunzhong was before. If it weren't for God's guidance, he wouldn't have proposed so many new doctrines. From his entry into Pingnan County, he could see believers worshipping God everywhere, which Hong Xiuquan had never dared to imagine before. When he heard Li Yunzhong's words about daydreaming, he had no doubt at all. He had also gone through several such incidents. The pressure on Hong Xiuquan to rescue Feng Yunshan disappeared from his heart, and he also encountered such a happy situation in Pingnan County. It was his teacher who came to Li Yunzhong to dream, and he couldn't help but be overjoyed. Quickly muttering in a low voice, God didn't abandon me, God didn't abandon me. Li Yunzhong saw that he seemed to be possessed, so he quickly interrupted his self-talk and said, yes, God has not forgotten his son. He sent me down to assist you. Hong Xiuquan looked at Li Yunzhong with warm eyes and thought to himself, he is my teacher, the teacher in heaven. I seem to remember a teacher in heaven, it must be like this. Li Yunzhong felt very uncomfortable and didn't want to speak recklessly. Thinking to himself, if Hong Xiuquan had been sent to a mental hospital early in the 21st century, he would have been daydreaming every day. With just a hint from others, he would have been able to think of it and believe it had really happened. It seems that he has been hit too hard and no one has confided in him. He has been holding it in his heart for a long time, which is beyond his capacity to bear. Actually, what Li Yunzhong was thinking was right. Hong Xiuquan was born into a farming and studying family and started studying in a village school at the age of 7. He was familiar with the 4 books, 5 classics, and other ancient books. The elders in the village were optimistic that Hong Xiuquan could achieve fame and honor his ancestors. They praised him to everyone, but he failed 3 provincial exams and was already 25 years old after losing the 3rd time in Guangzhou. After returning home from this setback, he fell seriously ill and fainted for a while. During his illness, an old man hallucinated and said to him, by the will of heaven, I have ordered him to come to the mortal world to slay demons and eliminate them. From then on, Hong Xiuquan remained silent in his words and behaved strangely. At this moment, Hong Xiuquan flipped through the book, Persuasion to the World, that Christians had given him when he was taking the exam in Guangzhou. He compared the content of the book with his previous hallucinations when he was seriously ill and believed that he had been ordered by God to go down to earth to slay demons. In a fit of anger, he abandoned the books of Confucius and Mencius, stopped being a Confucian scholar, and converted to Christian teachings. He changed his family's tablet of Confucius to that of God. Although he had never read the Bible, Hong Xiuquan began to promote the Christian doctrine he understood to people, calling it the God-worship church. Unfortunately, with a head-on blow, the villagers did not approve of Christianity and even dismissed him from his position as a school teacher. Hong Xiuquan had to go out to avoid the wind and take Feng Yunshan to stay temporarily with relatives in Guangxi. Li Yunzhong looked at Hong Xiuquan resting in bed with a pitiful gaze. Remembering that he was very similar to a classmate in his past life. Due to his addiction to gaming, his studies plummeted, and his teachers criticized him many times for affecting others' studies. His classmates intentionally distanced themselves from him. Once in the dormitory, he had an argument with a good student, and a passing homeroom teacher beat him up. From then on, he became silent and behaved strangely. Within a few weeks, he went crazy. Li Yunzhong witnessed him chasing his parents with a knife at home, cursing and chasing them. That scene left a deep impression on Li Yunzhong, reminding him more than once to focus on reducing stress during his studies. Without a psychologist to treat him, Hong Xiuquan could only go further and further on the path of neurosis, as his outcome later proved. Hong Xiuquan may have been exhausted from the journey and slept for a day and a night. The next afternoon, he woke up and had lunch with him. After that, Li Yunzhong introduced Hong Xiuquan to the backbone of the God-worship church in Pingnan County. Except for Ling Shiba in Guangdong, most leaders above the rank of platoon leader have arrived. Li Yunzhong introduced Hong Xiuquan's names and their contributions to the worship of God one by one. Hong Xiuquan just stood by, smiling and nodding occasionally, appearing very approachable. "It's really dreamy not to speak. Every time I speak, it's all in my dreams." Hong Xiuquan said, "If people's hearts are too bad and politics, are too bad, there will be great disasters and difficulties in the world. Only those who believe in God and join the church can avoid them. Those who join the church, regardless of their gender or status, are equal. Men are called brothers, and women are called sisters. You must remember this." Everyone replied, "Yes, we will remember." Hong Xiuquan also said, "Yesterday, God gave me a dream that he had sent my teacher to assist me in saving the world." After a pause, he pointed to Li Yunzhong and said, "He is my teacher. You should respect him as you respect me." Everyone answered, "Yes," and excitedly looked at Li Yunzhong, thinking of the miracle that had appeared on him and believing it deeply. Hong Xiuquan took out several booklets from his body and said to the crowd, "It is wrong for people to think that God is the God of Westerners. China also has God, as seen in the Book of Documents. As mentioned in the book. Fear God, dare not be unjust, God is disobedient, wish for morning when surrendering, dare to accept God only, in order to contain chaos and strategy, but God is not always good, doing good deeds with 100 blessings, doing bad deeds with 100 calamities." Many ancient books mention God, and our belief in God is not to worship foreign things, but to go back to ancient times. I have written it all in this booklet, you should read it frequently. Li Yunzhong was stunned when he heard it beside him. Hong Xiuquan was really bold, even daring to fabricate the birth of God. His words were quite reasonable. If placed in 100 years, there should be a strong market among college students with strong national self-esteem. Hong Xiuquan distributed the booklet, and Li Yunzhong also received one. When he opened it, it was all in traditional Chinese characters, which he couldn't recognize completely, but he pretended to be very interested and flipped through it. Hong Xiuquan dispersed the crowd and said to Li Yunzhong, who was focused on reading, "I still have to make a trip to Mount Zijing. After that, I will go back to Guangdong to retrieve Mount Yunshan, and I will stay with my family in Guangxi for a long time." Li Yunzhong was afraid that Hong Xiuquan would let him also go to Mount Zijing and let Yang Xiuqing handle him easily, which would be a big loss. He quickly declined and turned left to talk about him. Hong Xiuquan didn't say anything, packed up his things and headed towards Mount Zijing. Li Yunzhong thought to himself. In Hong Xiuquan's heart, it is still more important to go to Mount Zijing. Li Yunzhong denied the idea of getting rid of Hong Xiuquan and doing it alone. It was simple. Firstly, his name was not correct and his words were not smooth. Secondly, during the anti-Qing process, as the rebellious faction known as the Wang faction, the Tutu faction was definitely the key target of attack for the officers and soldiers. It would be better for them to slowly proclaim themselves as the king and accumulate more grain. Thirdly, Hong Xiuquan is a good puppet.